Hi, so today we are with Lee Shaddock, the founder and president of Shore360 here in Clark, Pampanga, which is just outside of Manila. So let's see what Lee has got to say.
Hi, I'm Lee Shaddock. I'm the CEO and founder of Shore360, based here in the Clark Freeport Zone in central Luzon, Philippines. I think there's a common misunderstanding about outsourcing. Outsourcing traditionally has been engaging a third party to deliver you an outcome, a product, a transaction, a widget. Staff leasing in the Philippines is you being able to own your own employee in this country, you being able to provide direction and guidance, task allocation, and for them to be part of your business, just working in another country. So engaging a service provider in another country to provide you with offshore support is much easier these days than it used to be. Only the big companies were able to do it with large organisation, large infrastructure, capacity to operate in another company. BPOs across the world these days, and particularly in the Philippines, are able to provide the forum for you to be able to own your own staff, own your own office in the Philippines, and for you to be able to engage people without actually having to set up a business infrastructure in that country. Startup operations, commencing an offshore operation or outsourcing in another country is quite challenging. We have a philosophy of think big, start small. Always target a function that you've got a good handle on process, on productivity, the deliverables that you've experienced in your own business back in your home country, so that your startup can be measured, can be assessed, and you can appreciate the true value of it. Then launch into more significant applications or tasks, and you'll discover enormous success. Onboarding a new employee requires effort. Good talent in a low-cost labour margin comes at a cost, and that cost is the time and energy you have to put in to getting them on board, inducted into your business, embrace your culture, embrace your work values, your work ethic, and there will always be skill gaps. No matter how qualified and experienced they are, there will be a skill gap. So we encourage, firstly, testing in selection process, looking for that gap and for you to appreciate how you would manage dealing with that gap, and then having a good structured process to onboard them. Now, onboarding people remotely is not as easy. Starting a new employee in your home office, the subliminal management techniques you use in the canteen or in the bus stop or in the pub on Friday night aren't there. You have to make a deliberate effort to set tasks, monitor their performance, correct their errors, and help them achieve. The beauty of the Philippines is that the work ethic here is so great that you often can't feed them enough to keep them productive. A busy Filipino is a happy Filipino. So to start up with outsourcing in another country, the easiest point of entry is to commission a freelancer who will work from home, generally in a provincial area, using community broadband connections and power supplies and the like. And because it's the lowest cost point of entry, some are successful at it, a lot aren't. The weakness to it is that you have no management control over that. So what staff leasing and BPO organisations has brought to the table is the opportunity for small business, medium enterprise to be able to commence quite a formal commercial application of engaging resources, talent in another country. It comes with a controlled office environment, with time and attendance systems, with monitoring of performance, policies around security and confidentiality. The control factor is 10 times the difference in cost between a freelancer and a controlled staff lease arrangement or outsource arrangement. The other downside of it also is if you're really successful with a freelance, and you get a second and then a third, and you decide to create an office, all of a sudden you've got staff all over the countryside. These people will not be in one place. So it's wise to pick a location that gives you all the support you need from a business point of view, put your roots down in that right space and build your team there. Pricing models for offshore operations vary from one service provider to the next. And I go back to my point about outsourcing and staff leasing. There'll be hybrids in between where there is a co-managed arrangement or a fully managed arrangement. The important thing is transparency in pricing. Companies do present their costs in different ways, and sometimes it's difficult for you to be able to compare apples to apples. So my approach to that is to remove all the barriers to entry, ensure that the total cost of operating a team in another continent is to make sure that your pricing is transparent, that we're not profiting on people's salaries, that salaries are passed on at cost. There's a facility fee for the infrastructure, and that gives you nice clarity in your commercial arrangement. It's also important to make sure that you've got a good service agreement. You've got to make sure that your engagement model is controlled around exposure to everything from data security to the local labour codes, which are very different to that of the Western world. The talent available here in the Philippines is extraordinary. I came here 10 years ago as a client looking to provide half a dozen people to do some basic low-end data entry work. The talent that's available here now has allowed me to actually start a business where we provide engineers to architects to accountants to graphic artists to app builders. The talent pool is quite extraordinary. It is lower cost than the Western world, but it's less about the cost and it's more about the availability and the diversity of the work that they can do. I regularly have Western businessmen come through my organisation who walk in with a desire to get some accounts payable, receivable, maybe bank reconciliation done, and when they see the talent and how it's being used with other Western businesses, they change their mind. They go home with all these creative thoughts about how they can get things done better in their own business or do more because they have the benefit now of lower cost. Philippines has had its fair share of international media around security, and the truth is this country is the fastest growing economy in all of Southeast Asia. I have to be honest and say that I've lived in this country for 10 years and I've never tripped over any risk to my personal security or my business security. Often overrated. So I don't have any fear of having a business here or living here. Data security around the world is a point of conversation these days, and it's important to note that the way we do business is we do not hold on to or retain any of your data. Most applications are a remote login to either your cloud application or your home server-based application, and you're in control of what data you expose to your worker. I mean, you're allocating the day-to-day tasks and duties, you're monitoring their performance. It's no different to having an office in your home country. The access to data is controlled by you. Our systems here are designed to isolate any interface of data and work to policies and procedures that minimise the risk around data security. Well, to start offshoring, the startup process is quite simple, quite straightforward. And the first objective is you really need to provide a service partner that can represent you on the ground in the Philippines, that can assist you with all things Filipino. The second is to help them understand your business plan, appreciate what you're trying to do, how quickly, how big, how far, and then to have a partner that's got a true capability in recruitment. Finding good talent is the biggest challenge that we have, and if you've got a good recruitment partner, you're going to be able to provide or find good talent very quickly that will get you started. The final factor is I go back to the point of transparency. No working relationship can work well unless you've got clear transparency in pricing, in relationship, in co-management techniques to help deliver the outcomes that you're looking for. A good part of our new business comes through referral. So referral is a common means of us getting leads and working with new business opportunities. There are other ways of doing it. There are a number of organisations, including Mike's Tour, that will show you, let you touch it, let you feel it, and let you understand what working with a service provider in another country represents. But at the end of the day, the due diligence process is not difficult. You really just need to sit down and talk to the different service providers, understand their engagement model, look to ensure that the working agreement is clean and without penalty or cost of exit. Speak to their other clients. That's a very common way of determining that they're a successful service provider. So before coming to the Philippines, I spent 20 years in business in Australia and New Zealand, working in outsourcing and offshoring with private enterprise. My experience here in the Philippines has given me the opportunity to help share that experience with potential clients, people investigating the opportunities here. And the secret really is to be able to understand their business sufficiently to help them overcome the fears of offshoring. That is critical in a service provider. You really should be looking for a service partner, not a service provider.